Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and big thank you for taking some time to swing by the channel to spend with me on the video today. Really appreciate that. And guys, got a really good video today. I'm going to give you a full tutorial on how to trim your jig skirts in order to maximize the efficiency of the jig, match different type of trailers, because trimming a jig skirt is an art form. It's not as easy as just taking a pair of scissors and cutting some strands off it. There are certain techniques that you have to use about how you trim a skirt and the number of strands that you leave or keep on there, and the lengths of those strands in relationship to the style and type of trailer that you're using. So I can promise you guys, after the end of this video, you guys are going to be masters at trimming a jig skirt. You'll notice a big difference in the number of bites that you get. Also, guys, two quick housekeeping tips before we get started. Just want to invite everybody to swing by and check out my lake map breakdowns I build for fishthemoment.com. We got our fall maps up right now and the winter maps. These are great resources to learn more about a lake you're getting ready to fish. Really is going to help you guys cut a lot of corners, just finding some good areas. So I'll put the link in the description of this video. And also, guys, we've got 2 weeks left in the October sale on my Solar Bat Series Signature Series glasses. If you guys are interested in getting a pair of the 2s or 3s of my Signature Series, I'll put the link in the description. You can get them at 20% off right now. I really appreciate that. Okay, guys, jig fishing. We're going to talk about jig fishing, and we're going to talk about my Blaukat throwback jig, guys. This is the jig that I worked with Cumberland Pro Lures to make. Living rubber skirt, guys, hand-tied skirt. Living rubber is a superior skirt material over silicone, simply because of the lifelike action and how this thing vibrates in the water in comparison to silicone. Looks a lot more lifelike. So this is absolutely my favorite deal. I'll put my throwback jig link in the description of this video if you guys would like to order some. That's what we're talking about here today. So first of all, I'm going to show you a non-trimmed jig skirt, what it looks like with a trailer. So I've got a Zoom Big Salty chunk here, and this is what it's going to look like with a non-trimmed jig skirt. That's what it looks like. Okay, now we're going to take the same deal and we're going to do some trimming on it. I'll show the difference, because there's two types of trimming that you want to do. One is for the chunk type trailers that you just put on like that, and the other is for when you thread the hook on there. So we're going to show you the difference between that. So the next thing I'm going to do is, guys, once that you get your jig like this, once you get your jig skirt lined out, you want to put your trailer on before you trim it, because this is going to allow you to know how to, more effectively trim each strand. So I'm going to go ahead and put my chunk on there, and then I'm going to begin trimming. Now, the worst thing that you want to do, guys, is you do not want to ever just trim straight across. You're wanting to cut at an angle like this, and you're wanting to leave some strands short and some strands long. And another thing is, what you're trying to accomplish is you're trying to get as much as the trailer visible at the same time, but you also want some strands that cover up the trailer. You don't want the trailer to just be standing out there completely bare. You want some strands over it, but you don't want this many strands over it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, and I'm going to put it at an angle, and I'm going to start trimming. I'm going to go up high and make a couple cuts here. And see, that makes a sort of a, see that strand right there? It sort of sticks out all crazy. And then I'm going to go through, and I'm going to cut them all at different lengths. And I'm going to make sure that there's not one that's hanging down too far on there. But I've got a few that are long, and I've got some that are mid lengths, and I've got some that are, shorter. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create this irregular look. And a lot of it is just practice till you find out what you like there. So that one is looking pretty good there. Okay, now you can see the way I've got this here. I've got some that are short, I've got some that are mid-length, and I've got some that are long, but they've been thinned out enough to where the trailer is covered, but it's still visible. Now here's the difference between the two. This is the stock one here that hasn't been trimmed, and here's the trimmed one. It's a difference on it. Now, this is a subtle difference, but the thing that you have to realize is visual is very important on a jig, because these bass will go down on a jig like this and they'll study it. They'll look at the thing as it's hopping across the bottom like that, and sometimes they'll nose it, so they get a very good look at it. So anything that you can do to increase the visual appeal is going to be the way to do it. Now that's the way you want to do on a hanging type chunk. Now the other one is a threading chunk. This is a Zoom Big Salty chunk. So I'm going to thread one on here too. It doesn't really matter what brand you use. I just use Zoom, but this is going to work the same. Now threading chunk, what it's going to do, it's going to put your trailer a little bit closer to the jig skirt. So this is what a non-trimmed jig looks like with the threaded on chunk, like there. Now when you're trimming a jig skirt on a threaded chunk, you've got to take more of the skirt off, because one of the things about this is since it's shorter, you don't want it hanging down on the legs. On a threaded type chunk, since it's longer, it's hanging down farther, you have to leave it a little bit longer, but we're gonna wind up taking more off. So I'm gonna do a before and after here. Okay, so I'm gonna thread one on here. And this is going to give it a little bit more of a compact look. Now, another thing, some trailers like this, guys, some people thread even this trailer on. And if you're threading this type of trailer on, you want to leave it longer, obviously, because it's hanging down longer. But most people prefer to thread it on, which I do too. I thread it on most of the time on the super chunk. Okay, another thing is before you trim, make sure you get all your skirts, get them, sort of work with them and get them all where they're hanging down right. Okay, so on this one, I'm gonna be a little bit more aggressive with it. I'm gonna be cutting them a little bit shorter. And again, I wanna cover some up, I wanna leave some down, but I want those legs very visible. Get some of these over here. Okay, here's the difference between the two. Okay, here's the one stock without it trimmed, and here's the trim model here. You can see that you got, some of the skirt covering the base of it there, but you've got a lot of the legs out here visible. So it's just another visual strike thing there. Now, guys, this is something that I do all the time. I never, ever, on any of my jigs, just fish it straight out of the box. One of the things that we've done here on my Blaukat throwback jig is we purposely left the skirts longer. This is a very long skirt on a jig, and we did that for a reason. We did that because that allows you to use that jig on a variety of different trailers, and you can modify and you can trim the skirt, to meet your trailer needs. Because some people like a curly-tailed trailer, some guys like a little shorter, a little bit longer, some people like a pork frog. But I can assure you guys, if you learn how to trim a jig skirt, and you get it where, it just looks a little bit more imperfect, a little bit gnarlier, it definitely adds up to more strikes. You don't ever want to have a perfectly uniform skirt on any lure. I don't care if it's a chatterbait, a spinnerbait, a buzzbait, or a jig. You don't want to use a factory skirt that is just uniformly with the same strands everywhere. Take some time, get you a good sharp pair of scissors and modify that, and it definitely will add up to some more bites. I mean, I'm gonna guess from my experience with it, because I fish with a lot of people that don't trim skirts, they just put them on and call it good. If you go fishing during the course of a year, and say you catch 50 bass a year on a jig with an untrimmed skirt, I can promise you guys, if you would trim your skirt and you spend time, with the attention to detail about making different, links on there, you're probably at the minimum, you're gonna double your bites. You're gonna get double the bites that you would if you just use it stock. I've seen it over and over again. So anyway, guys, it's a technique, it's a trick I've used forever. I know it's gonna help you out. So hope it helps you guys get a few more bites, and we'll talk later.